Thank you all for tuning in. It's a great opportunity to get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who is a conduit for the mercy of all the previous acharyas, going all the way back to Narada Muni, Brahmaji, and ultimately to Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all existence. So today we're in Srimad Bhagavatam, very interesting verse, Bhagavatam 5.5.33, 5.5.33 Bhagavatam. These prose verses, Prabhupada just read them, and this call and response they wouldn't do with the prose verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tashahaya Parisha Surabi Sagamya Vayastam Deshang Dashayojanam Samantat Surabim Chakara. Tasya, his, ha, indeed, yah, which, Parusha, of the stool, Surabhi, by the aroma, Sagandhya, possessing a good fragrance, Vayu, the air, Tam, that, Desham, country, Dasha, up to 10, Yojanam, yojanas. 1 yojana equals 8 miles. Samantat, all around. Surabhim, aromatic. Chakara, made. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Because Lord Rishabhadeva remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. Purport. From this we can certainly assume that Lord Rishabhadeva was transcendently blissful. His stool and urine were so completely different from material stool and urine that they were aromatic. Even in the material world, cow dung is accepted as purified and antiseptic. A person can keep stacks of cow dung in one place. It will not create a bad odor or disturb anyone. We can take it for granted that in the spiritual world, stool and urine are also pleasantly scented. Indeed, the entire atmosphere becomes very pleasant due to Lord Rishabhadeva's stool and urine. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Datapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagama Raganitan Vetam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vetam Shab Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadesha Tarine. One thing that really amazes me about this verse, I didn't know there was stool and urine in the spiritual world. I was surprised that Prabhupada said them. But it's aromatic. It's not grotesque or stinky like here in the material world. So it gives us some idea of the spiritual world. Even stool and urine is aromatic. Everything is simply wonderful in the spiritual world, you see. So we can understand different similes here. The material world is a foul place, and the spiritual world is an aromatic place, you see. The material world is foul in many ways, in taste, in odor, in sights, in sound. Every one of the senses. See, aromatic means the nose, you see. So in every way, the spiritual world is a beautiful, and through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, everything. The spiritual world is a very beautiful place, you see. So, we should take advantage of these great sages. They're giving us the key how to get back to that place from which we originally come. Just imagine giving up a beautiful aromatic place and come to a place that's so foul and grotesque in so many ways. Even just imagine being, Papa explains, I was hearing a lecture this morning on my walk, how difficult it is to be in the womb. He said, Papa said, even without 3 seconds, we can't live without air. Maybe a little longer, but the point was you can't live very long without air, you see. So imagine being packed up in a bag for 10 months or 9 months. Being packed up in a bag for all those months and to live in a very, very hellish condition, you see. But yeah, we think, oh, it's very nice in the material world. Actually, this is simply suffering. From the moment you take birth in the womb to the moment you leave the body. See, actually birth begins, the real birth is when you get a body, before birth, you actually got a body in the womb of the mother, you see. So in that sense, we're twice born. It's like the chickens are twice born. They're in the egg. The hen lays the egg, that's the first birth. When it comes out of the egg, that's the second birth. So in one sense, we human beings are also twice born, in that way. There's 2 different meanings of twice born. Dvija has 2 different meanings. And when the soul actually enters into the womb of the mother, that's a birth in one sense. He's getting a material body. And when he comes out, that's a second birth. Of course, in the higher sense, it was more important. Spiritual life, when you get initiated by the bona fide spiritual master, you take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, then you're actually born twice. Even the Christians, they have called a born-again Christian. The common saying among Christians, I'm a born-again Christian. So we're born-again Krishnas, you see. The first birth is from the mother and father, the second birth is from the spiritual master and the scriptures. That's our second birth. So being born once, that's everybody's position in the material world. The dogs, the hogs, the monkeys, the orangutans, the elephants, the zebras, the cobras, the leopards, everybody, it's a standard thing to be born. To be born twice by taking shelter of Guru and Krishna, that's what we have to really do. To take that advantage of the spiritual master and the Lord Krishna to actually be born again in the spiritual life, you see. So when you actually take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, you end up in another dimension. That's the amazing thing. Can you imagine ending into a different dimension? See, right now we're totally caught up in bodily consciousness. I'm this body, I'm male, I'm female, I'm this, I'm that, you see. But this is a nightmare. Do you know that you're living in a nightmare right now? Did you know that? You think you're a little girl? That's a nightmare. I'm a little girl. It's a nightmare to be a little girl, you see? Or a little boy, or a senior citizen. This is called a nightmare. So the spiritual master comes as a representative of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev Jago, Goda Chandra Bole, Kota Nida Jao Maya, Pisa Chira Kole. Wake up. How long will you sleep in the lap of which? You see, the lap of the witch Maya. Would you like to lay your head in the lap of a witch? That's what we're doing here. We're laying our heads in the lap of the witch named Maya. We're embracing Maya as our dearmost well-wisher. That's it. So we need to hear from the bona fide spiritual masters how to stop this idiotic, ridiculous thing of taking shelter of the material energy. Material energy is actually punishing us. Can you imagine? We're being punished by the material nature. The whips. We're being whipped and punished, you see. And we're taking it, we're thinking, oh, very nice of being whipped and punished. See, we take suffering as enjoyment. And we take enjoyment as suffering. How is that? Do you know how you take enjoyment as suffering? The real enjoyment is Krishna consciousness. But people think it's some miserable thing. No illicit sex, no eating, no toxin, gambling. How miserable is that, you see? So, the suffering is enjoyment. They take suffering as enjoyment. Sense gratification, they get as actual enjoyment. And the real enjoyment, Krishna consciousness, they get some suffering position. So everything is it's called topsy-turvy. They get it completely backwards, you see. So they take suffering as enjoyment, and enjoyment is suffering. So Krishna consciousness cuts through this knot of duality, that no, give up this madness, come to your actual identity. Why are you sleeping like this in this state of illusion? Don't you realize you're a bewildered, confused person? Did you know that you're confused? Do you know you're very confused? You didn't know you were confused? Arjuna knew it, you see. Karpanya dosha bhatav sabhava prashtamitam dharma samudda cheta yat shrayam tandashchitam bruhiman tanmet susastaham shadimang trang papanam. Now I'm confused about my duty. I've lost all composure to the miserly weakness. In this condition, I ask you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple, soul, surrender to you. Please instruct me. Are you willing to come to that position? I'm a bewildered soul, please instruct me. Are you willing to come to that position? That's called intelligence. It's like you're lost in the woods somewhere and you can't find your way out. You went for a hike in the woods and you lost your way. You're totally lost. You don't know how you came. You forgot the path. You're wandering around. You don't know how to get out of the woods. You're totally lost, and somebody comes and says, here's the way out of the woods. You say, who are you? And somebody can show you out of the way of the woods. Take their advice. Some well-wishing person, you find some well-wishing person out there in the forest. He says, here's the way out of the wilderness. I mean, you say, well, maybe he's a cheater. Maybe it's not really the way out of the wilderness, but what do you have to, you're wandering around anyway, so what do you have to lose by trying it? You see what I'm saying? You're wandering around for days and weeks. Some are getting a little water here, eating a few berries there, completely lost in the wilderness. And now somebody comes, here's the way out of the wilderness. Why not give it a try at least? What's the harm in trying? You're lost anyway, so what's the harm of trying somebody's advice? The thing is, once you actually try it, you go, well, now I'm back home. I'm out of the wilderness, and you know it's a bona fide instruction. Of course, there are many cheaters out there who pose as gurus. The whole world is full of these cheating gurus, big swamis. It's like that reminds me of that old saying, the Bengali saying, Baro baro bandalo baro barate, lanka dikade mate karake. Big monkey, big belly, Ceylon jumping, melancholy. Famous Bengali saying. You know that saying, Bengali saying? So there's so many big gurus with big bellies, you see. But, and big beards. But when it comes to actual self-realization, melancholy, you see. So don't follow the charlatans. I know I tried a few and it didn't work. You see. Find the bona fide, how do you know who's a bona fide spiritual master? Then we could ask, how do you tell the difference? If you're telling me not to follow a bogus guru, then how do I know who's bogus and who's genuine? What's the criterion? How do you make the distinction? They all seem to be fairly nice. Nice saffron robe, nice big beautiful beard, nice long hair, and a chants Om very sweetly. How do I distinguish between a bona fide guru and a charlatan? It's very simple. Who presents the Bhagavad Gita as it is, without adding to or subtracting from it, you see? That's the key. The bona fide spiritual master means that person who presents the teachings coming down from his spiritual master. He doesn't invent something new. If it's those who invent something, they say among the jnanis, that's the standard. You can't be a jnani unless you make an opposing philosophy to defeat all the other jnanis. That's how you become a jnani, by defeating all the other jnanis. It's like philosophers, they become a famous philosopher, you have to defeat all the other philosophers and establish your philosophy is the one that defeats all the other philosophies. That's to become a big philosopher. You see. You have to defeat all the other philosophies. But that's not how knowledge comes down. You don't become knowledge by defeating. You become knowledge by repeating. Instead of defeating, repeating. Repeating what has been spoken by the previous acharyas who are coming down, what Krishna has given. Krishna is the supreme authority. There's no other supreme authority except for Krishna. You understand? Krishna is the supreme authority. There's no other authority except for Krishna. So whatever Krishna is saying, he knows what's true. Since everything is his energy, he knows everything perfectly. It's just like you buy a piece of equipment, you don't know how to operate, but you get the owner's manual. And the manufacturer gives an owner's manual. Here's how you work this piece of equipment. You know what I mean? You try to speculate on your own, like the Aborigine was given a Rolls Royce. He used it as a sleeping hut. He didn't know you could turn it on and drive, go on a nice drive in the Rolls Royce. He used it as a nice soft bed he laid down in it, because he didn't check out the owner's, because he didn't even read the owner's manual. So the point is, you have to take the direction from the manufacturer. Aham sarvasya prabhava matak sarvam pravartate iti madbhabadante vam buddha bhava samanvataha. I'm the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service, and they do what? They worship me with all their hearts. So that's the key. Find out that person who's the manufacturer of everything, and learn from him how to properly utilize. In fact, you were also manufactured by the Supreme. You're not self-manifested. Do you think you're self-manifested? We're manifested. Krishna is manifesting us. We're not, in that sense, we're Krishna's energy. We're all the energy of Krishna. We exist for the sole purpose of pleasing him. So if you try to do anything else, you're going against your own nature. Like the popular saying, be natural. You have to be natural. Well, they don't know what being natural means. For them, being natural is like an animal. You go to the forest, and a nudist colony, I'm going to be natural. You see, that's not natural. Even their Aborigines don't cover themselves in private parts, Aborigines. So being natural doesn't mean to imitate the animals going without clothes. But got to be natural, because you don't have the body of an animal. You have the body of a human being. Animals are meant for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Let's face the fact. The animal's only purpose is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The human being is meant for a different purpose. Hatato Brahma Jigyasa. That the human being is. You understand these points, or going over your head? The human being is meant. Hatato Brahma Jigyasa. Human being is meant for self-realization. That's the purpose of his existence. So you try to do something else, you're not being natural, you see. The fish is naturally in the water, the bird is naturally in the air, etc., etc., etc. So why don't you why try to be something you're not, with just being who you are? As we sometimes say, our philosophy is very simple: know who you are and be who you are. That's our philosophy in a nutshell. But they don't know who they are, so how can they be who they are? They don't even know who they are. That's the problem. They think, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm male, I'm female, I'm white, I'm black, etc. They're trying to be something that they're really not. That's why everybody is frustrated and miserable. That's why there's so much, world's becoming crazy, a crazy place now. Even the airplanes, all kind of madness happening now. They try to open people going crazy on the airplanes now. They have to come in for landing. They have like person arrested by the police. Even on the airplanes, going crazy. Some guy passed urine in the aisle. I mean, it's crazy stuff. It's becoming more and more animalistic. More and more animalistic. So we have to bring sanity back to the human civilization, starting with ourselves. We must bring sanity back to the human civilization. Sanity means reestablishing our relationship with the source of our existence. Plugging back in to our actual identities. That's what it means to become sane. Anything else is insane. You go to the psychiatrist, you have some insanity problem, the psychiatrist is insane himself. Isn't that ridiculous? You have some mental problem, you go to the he also has mental problems. If you associate with somebody who has mental problems, that increases your own mental problems. So they go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, they become even more crazy because the psychologist itself is crazy. Can you imagine how... I mean, it reminds me, there was a popular movie when I was a kid. I didn't see it, but the title was quite appropriate. It was called, title was, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. That was the title of the movie. It's a mad, 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 mad world. And how true it is. It's even more mad than it was in those days. It's becoming, every day it's become more crazy, more insane. Just unbelievable how crazy it's becoming. We see. Crazier, and every passing day is becoming more insane. It's becoming more and more disconnected from God. Sanity means connected with God. Insanity means disconnected from God. Or, of course, there's some who connect with Him for their own selfish purpose. The Kanishta Adhikaris, they give me this, give me, give me, give me, give me. That's better than atheism. Because out of that, sometimes someone may come to a higher level. You see. Well, why should I ask God for this and that? I'm getting it anyway. Do the animals go to church? And does the bird go to church and pray for worms? No, the bird doesn't go. Why the bird doesn't come to church and pray for worms? Because by God's arrangement, what is that? Eko bahunam yobidadaikamam. I'm supplying all my necessities. Krishna's already giving the birds the worms. So the birds don't have to pray. I'm on a higher level than the birds. Why am I bother praying? God has already arranged me. You see. So instead of saying, give me, 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 you see, how can I serve you, my Lord? You see, that is intelligence. You see. That's when you actually, that's what Jesus teaches. Father, not my will, but thy will be done. So real Krishna is one who seeks to serve the will of God. Someone who says for daily bread, they're not really Christians. They're so-called Christians, so-called Muslims, so-called Sikhs, so-called Hindus, so-called Jews, etc., etc., etc. When you actually come to the point of want to serve God, then you're a genuine Hindu, a genuine, like that. Then you become a genuine religionist. Because religion means to relink. You don't connect with God by taking from God. You connect with God by giving to God. That's how you connect with God. Do you understand these points? If I asked you to give a lecture, could you give a lecture now? Are you actually comprehending what I'm saying? You have to really become learned in this stuff. Because your duty is to become learned and spend your life preaching this message. That's your duty. It's a human being. Lord Chaitanya's order. So you have to learn this stuff very, very well. Be able to master this stuff. When you become a little older, even Prahlad was a little boy, he was preaching. How old was Prahlad? 5 years old? And you're 8. You see, Prahlad was preaching, a little kid. He's preaching to his class, his childhood buddies, his childhood friends. He's preaching to them, you see. And his father couldn't stand it. He put him in boiling oil. Can you imagine being put in boiling oil because you're preaching Krishna consciousness? Pretty heavy. But Krishna protected him, you see. Sometimes the preachers are harassed, isn't it? Sometimes they're harassed. But if we actually take shelter, like Prahlad did, you see, Krishna will protect. So even Prabhupada harassed some of the envious God brothers, but tried to sabotage his preaching, you see. But because he stuck to the order of his spiritual master, Krishna protected him. So we always stick to the order of coming down from the bona fide spiritual master. Are you listening? If we stick always to the order of the spiritual master, then everything will become ecstatic, super ecstatic, you see. So we should not torture ourselves by trying to be on the speculative platform. We should get off the speculative platform and understand what does Krishna say, what is Srila Prabhupada saying, and how can I properly see everything through the eyes of the scriptures. Shastra Chaksus. How can I see everything through the eyes of the scriptures? See, we try to see things through our own mental speculations and we become very bewildered. Very, very bewildered. When you see things through the eyes of the scripture, then you realize, as Prabhupada said, a devotee sees a reverse condition as the gift of Krishna. So therefore a devotee he's never depressed, he's never bewildered, he's never devastated emotionally, because he's equipoised. In happiness and distress, pain and pleasure, honor and dishonor, old age and youth, poverty and wealth, etc. One who is actually Krishna conscious is perfectly equipoised. He sees everything as the gift of Krishna in every situation. So what is that called? Krishna consciousness. What is society called? The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. What does that mean? The members are supposed to be what? Krishna conscious. So why are we not Krishna conscious? Why do we keep thinking about pain and pleasure, happiness and distress, honor and dishonor? Why are we so caught up in these dualities, one could ask? Well, the difficulty is, my dear listeners, we've been habituated to this for millions of lifetimes. That's the problem. We're addicted to dualism. We're not equipoised because we're addicted to dualism, being happy when things are going great and being miserable when things are going bad. But by hearing from Srila Prabhupada and these great acharyas that he represents and those who purely preach on his behalf, we can actually get free of this, bounce around by the dualities and come to the position of pure Krishna consciousness. Happiness always beyond material happiness and distress. As an example given, just like the airplane is flying along and they come into a big storm. See, the plane is flying from one city to another city, right? And it's very peaceful when he takes off, but as he's going, there's some storm happening, and 500 miles from the airport, in his newest storm. So what does he do? He goes above the storm. Because in the storm, the plane could crash. But he goes above the storm. The weather, he's told ahead of time. He's told ahead of time. The weather people have the radar, they know when there's a storm. So he knows ahead of time to fly what altitude to not be caught up in the storm. So all of us go through very stormy weather sometimes in our lives, isn't it? Don't you have stormy weather sometimes? So we have to go beyond the storm. We have to raise our altitude by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Guru Maharaj, you may want to add some points to enlighten us with transcendental knowledge. And I don't know why they have to call. I don't like to take calls on the phone during class. It interrupts the class. Just waiting for the thing to get over.
Every morning, harassment.
We should turn off the phone during class time, or just let it go to voicemail. To actually answer it in the class is not very good. We're waiting. We're pausing. Oh, the phone call is taken care of. No, I'll do it. All right. Question. I have a question. As a kid growing up, when I was small, I used to eat meat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are you right now?
Let's wait till this get over this interrupting.
Yeah, please why not come right now so we can discuss things. Right now we are having Bhagavatam. Okay? Yeah, please. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay. As a small child, I used to eat meat, but now I'm wondering if Lord Krishna has forgiven me because I have not eaten meat for 10 or 11 years. I've only eaten prasadam. Yes, if you give up eating meat and you just take prasadam, Krishna will forgive you for all the meat you ate. Yes. Anything else? As I many times say, when there's no questions, I say like a yes.
So, Srila Gurudev, you used to teach us that the main presence of the spiritual master, disciple is feeling, like he's feeling the presence. All the disciples should feel always the presence of spiritual master.
Feel what?
Presence.
Yes. Actually, Prabhupada, the disciple should always feel the spiritual master's presence. That means remembering his instructions. Spiritual master is fully present in his instructions. So the disciple should always feel, even Prabhupada told us in Atlanta, my spiritual master is always with me, he's always seeing me. So we should be in that state of mind, always feeling the presence of our spiritual master by embracing his instructions, taking them as our very life and soul, and that way we'll always feel his presence. That's right.
So then why a disciple should even try to meet his spiritual master? There is internet, you can listen to his classes.
Because that's one of the items of surrender to Krishna. That's one of the items of sadhana bhakti. To to actually be physically with the spiritual master. That's one of the items of, just like we have japa, we have going to Vrindavan. Why even go to Vrindavan if Krishna is present in his name? It's the same principle, you see. That's one of the items of devotional service, to physically serve the spiritual master. It's one of the items that help you feel his presence. And he's fully present in instructions because we don't really feel that. We need other certain items to help us come to that level, and actually going to meet him, sit in his lotus feet, serving it directly. These things help us to do that, to feel his presence at every minute. Just like for the Prabhupada disciples, he's physically removed, but we can feel his presence by offering the arati, for example. Especially in Vrindavan, where all the big kirtan is going on. In Vrindavan, everything's magnified 1,000 times. So to offer the arati to Prabhupada during Guru Puja in Vrindavan is a very powerful experience. One can actually feel his presence. You can see Prabhupada is very much present in Krishna Balaram temple. And he's 1,000 times magnified, the potency. So these things are to help us to feel his presence in every situation.
So if someone is feeling already, so maybe then he doesn't need it.
If somebody's feeling it already, right. I'm an advanced devotee, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu, I'm an advanced devotee. I'm very advanced. I always feel the presence of my spiritual master. And, oh, boy, can I have a cigarette, please? The sahajas are a dime a dozen. I'm always feeling the presence. Actually, the highest devotee is the one who is, I'm missing my spiritual master, and I'm called Vipalamba Seva. That's the highest position. I'm crying in separation from my spiritual master. Oh, I'm always feeling Guru's presence. Yeah. No. The one who's feeling, when will that day be mine when I again be in my presence, my spiritual master? That's one who actually is feeling the presence. Separation increases the feeling of connection. The more you feel separated, the more you're connected. That's Vaishnavism. Okay, now we have more questions crawling in. Case of twice born, what is expected the effect of chanting Gayatri Mantra? Gayatri Mantra enhances the chanting of Hare Krishna. Next one is depression, anxiety, etc. Real illness is just a product of the mind. It's just the mind. It's actually a product of the mind. There's a verse it's stated in the Isha Upanishad, one should not be happy or disturbed of desirables and undesirables. One should not be happy or disturbed over desirables or undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. So these things are mental concoctions, actually. Because we're listening to the mind, that's why because we're taking our mind as our guide, we're letting our mind be in control, therefore we're suffering anxiety and depression, etc. We're letting our mind be in the control, giving power of eternity to our minds. Okay? Is it wrong for a native elder to smudge me with sacred tobacco from the native Sanskrit?
What was the question, so I couldn't hear?
It's kind of a strange question. Is it wrong for a native elder, this is American Indians, to smudge me with sacred tobacco from my native ancestors, and are we allowed to follow such traditions? It's not necessary. Why are you even bothering your mind with all this stuff? Get off the mental platform, Bhakti-analysis. This stuff is not necessary. Why even think about ridiculous questions? You should be asking, how to awaken love of God within my heart, not is it always smudged with sacred tobacco? I mean, these are ridiculous kind of questions. You have to learn how to ask questions that are relevant for your spiritual progress, not curiosity questions. We're not here, we don't come to Krishna consciousness as a curiosity seeker. Come as a seeker of spiritual realization. Okay? Now we have Bhakti Sham. Many people make the claim, how do you know what is going to happen after death? Instead of committing austerities, it makes sense to enjoy life. How can one tackle such a claim? See, there's a saying, making fun of Christians, pie in the sky when you die by and by. They make fun of the Christians. that it's just a bunch of hype, to convince you to go to church and give you donations, etc. There's really nothing after that. So how do you really know? The thing is, Bhakti Shah, the real thing is, how do we become convinced? Don't worry about tackling their claim. You become convinced yourself. If you're convinced, the more that you're convinced, the more you naturally have the potency to convince others. So you strengthen your own conviction, and then Krishna within the heart will guide you in every particular situation, because there's no set mantra you can say to everybody. It's desha, preaching according to time, place, and circumstance. So we can see, and you study Prabhupada's preaching, you see he used different arguments in different situations, not the same thing every time, according to time, place, and audience, you see. So the real thing is, how do you increase your own conviction that there is a realm beyond the cycle of birth and death? And there's many ways to do that. You can study the descriptions in the scriptures. How do I know they're not hype? They're real. There's so many, you can deal with all these doubts and gradually get rid of them and make your conviction pakka, very solid conviction. So it's based on actually experiencing these things, experiencing transcendental ecstasies beyond the material existence. As you dive into this process, you'll experience a nature, a transcendental nature that's beyond your material existence that convinces you, your own experiences, and two things. What you hear from the great authorities, you can understand these persons are not cheating, they're great authorities. You can understand they're actually authorities, I can take their word for it by studying their character, their qualities, the consistency, the scientific nature of their teachings based on the ancient scriptures. There's so many doubts, but you can overcome all of these doubts by carefully hearing from great authorities. Just by hearing from great authorities, their descriptions have the potency to drive away all doubts. This is not ordinary knowledge. This is transcendental sound vibrations. So by hearing from great authorities, that knowledge is totally packed up in not only the knowledge, but the realization of the knowledge is totally packed up in every syllable of what they're speaking to you. So if you hear submissively, it's not just an intellectual thing, but actually there's mystical, it's called achinta shakti. There's mystical potency in the words coming from the bona fide spiritual master. And that potency enables you to unlock realizations or a level of consciousness that was been sleeping within you for millions and billions of lifetimes. So when you hear from the bona fide spiritual master, it unlocks some higher dimension of consciousness that you can enter into, you can experience it, you can taste it, you can feel it, and you can share it also. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. What makes or breaks one in Krishna consciousness? Is there one specific thing when she... But the simple thing, Shobha Devi Dasi, is forgetfulness of Krishna. If you want to take it in a nutshell, always remember Krishna and don't forget him. That's the one. If you want to boil it down to one specific thing, that's what it is. Always remember Krishna every minute and don't ever forget him. You see. Forgetting Krishna, that's what breaks our Krishna consciousness. You forget Krishna and you look to the material world for enjoyment. When you remember Krishna, you find unlimited satisfaction, and it's called Krishna Sangha. It's like the Vrijabasis, they had so enlivened in Krishna's presence. Krishna can also become present with us in the form of his name, his qualities, his pastimes, his representatives, his temples, etc., his holy dhams, Jamuna, Vrindavan, Mayapur, all these things. Krishna becomes present, you see, in these transcendental manifestations of his mercy. So if you utilize all these things to always remember Krishna, even in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm the light of the sun and the moon. You can look up at the moon and think, oh yes. And it's like I have a beautiful picture, a Bijbasi print, turned into canvas in my room, my office, and it's a Murli Manohar. I was just reading, Prabhupada had the same exact picture in the original temple in San Francisco, 518 Frederick Street, across from where he was giving the lectures. He made a special thing about it. He had devotees put that verse from Rupa Goswami Smadam Bhangri Tabat Paraya Pachitam in the Sanskrit Devanagari and posted under the picture. And Prabhupada showed the whole story of how the gopis are wanting not to go to the bank of Jamuna to see the same. I was amazed. I was feeling the same connection between that verse and that picture. And Prabhupada was lecturing on the very same thing in San Francisco back in the early days of the movement. So these things help me remember Krishna. The Prabhupada said this, the beautiful picture of Krishna. There's all these things, when you associate with such things, and everyone has their own experiences. When you associate with these things that enliven you, which connects you with Krishna, all these things are opening up a dimension of consciousness, which enables you to be more and more in a state of Krishna Smaranam, always remembering Krishna. So we have to master our driving away all forgetfulness and completely absorb remembering Krishna, His names, His qualities, His pastimes, His entourage, His paraphernalia, His flute, His buffalo horn also. He's not only a flute, also a buffalo horn. You see? Krishna also has a buffalo horn, not only the flute, a buffalo horn also, you see. And the more you can remember all these things, the different pastimes with the cowherd boys, with the gopis, with Mother Jasoda, all of these things, they add up to where you can always be remembering them in so many ways. So it all boils down to always remember Krishna, utilize everything that you have at your facility to remembering Krishna in every situation. Okay? There's nothing else, we can end it here. What about these little Vaishnavas? Do they have any questions today? Yes, Bhakti Neil?
So, as Rishabhadev's stool and urine was aromatic.
Raj Kishore, can you come back and help me make out what he's saying? 1 minute.
She can help.
As Rishabhadev's stool and urine was aromatic, would every person who's on an elevated platform have some kind of spiritual character?
So he says, as Rishabhadev's stool and urine were aromatic,
Yeah.
everyone who is on an elevated platform, would they have some
Not in the material world, no.
No?
Even the great self-realized souls in the material world, their stool and urine also stinks.
Some other kind
Because with these material bodies, in the spiritual world, in the Goloka Vrindavan, even the stool and urine is aromatic. If anybody ever passes it.
But Rishabhadev was on
Huh?
earth only.
When we go back to God, thing is they may not even pass it very often. It's not that you have to. Here we have to pass stool and urine regularly. In the spiritual world, there's no requirement to pass stool and urine. Now, they might do it in some particular lila, some lila, but not as a regular bodily. There's no bodily necessities there. You don't have to eat. You don't have to mate. Although Prabhupada even said sometimes there's sex in the spiritual world, very rarely. But there's no need for these things. Different leelas of them. Yeah, even Prabhupada's stool and urine was not fragrant, for example. Yeah.
But cow is so pure.
The cow is different.
Yes.
Cow urine and cow dung, it's very nice. They're pure. But the cow is different. Even the cow and the cows on the Karmi, owned by the Karmis also. Anything else? There's something coming in. Let's see what we got here. All right. Can you please help me understand what no gambling means and what kinds of activities includes? Well, it's very simple. There's the lottery. For example, buying a lottery ticket with the hopes of winning, that's a simple example of gambling. Or some high-risk business investment also. Normal business risks are not considered gambling. You do some highly speculative business risk, that's also considered gambling. Is that clear? Yeah.
So, you said that the real spiritual master would give the Bhagavad Gita as it is, But if we don't know the Bhagavad Gita as it is, then how can we identify the real spiritual master?
You mentioned the real bona fide spiritual master. We can recognize that he's presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is. But if a person doesn't know Bhagavad Gita as it is, how he can identify such a spiritual master?
Read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Then you'll know. Another way is you can actually tell the difference by, if you read a Bhagavad Gita and you try to apply it, it doesn't work. The genuine Bhagavad Gita, it works. It's practical, it actually has the effect. Because the Bhagavad Gita says, the Bhagavad Gita, a very popular Bhagavad Gita in India, says there's no person, Krishna, that ever existed. Krishna is just a myth. There's no, the famous Gita, Dr. Radhakrishna's Gita, was a very popular, famous Gita. It says Krishna is only a myth. So who wants to worship a mythological god? You see. So he was actually killing the spirit. His Gita was killing the spirit of devotion. So such Bhagavad Gitas which deny Krishna's existence, factual existence, they're bogus. But a Bhagavad Gita teaches Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you're His eternal servant, now surrender to Him. That's the bona fide Gita. Because it works. It's practical. The truth works. That help a little bit? Any more doubts? Okay. Did Lord Chaitanya go through birth pain? I've never read anything about that. Doesn't make sense that Lord Chaitanya would not feel any pains of material existence. No, of course not. How he's manifested, I forget whether he came out of the womb. I don't remember how he came. Krishna was not out of a womb.
When he becomes Krishna conscious, they will be able to know everything.
But Krishna, however Lord Chaitanya appeared, he didn't go through any pain. Absolutely no pain. Krishna didn't experience any pain. Krishna's only pain is Lord Chaitanya's only pain is to see us suffering in material existence. That's his compassion. See, a compassionate person feels pain to see the sufferings of others. That's called compassion. So Lord Chaitanya is the ocean of compassion upon us. And his pure devotees are also, like Prabhupada, oceans of compassion upon us, poor souls suffering here in the cycle of birth and death. Anything else? Have we stopped now? As I many times said, feel free, all your doubts, lay all your doubts on the table. There's no judgmentalism here. We won't feel bad about it. You won't be embarrassed you have such a doubt. No, I love doubts because my duty to destroy all doubts in the hearts of my students and disciples. It's my duty to do that. So feel free to lay all your doubts on the table. Another question, is telling lies considered gambling? Or is it just ethical or moral? That's not it. For preaching, sometimes we have to be tactful. Just like in Moscow, devotees were chanting and they don't want any kind of religious activity. They said, oh, we're just doing a cinema show, they said. And the authorities let them chant. It's just a cinema show. The devotees government authorities let them chant because they said, oh, they're a cinema show. So we have to be sometimes very clever when the cheaters come. We may have to tell a transcendental lie sometimes to not be exploited by cheaters. Even Prabhupada told me in one letter, he personally said, if you're doing the book distribution, you're in an apartment building, and they say, who authorized you to be here? Well, the manager gave me authority. Prabhupada would say you can lie like that. I get permission to distribute here. So we don't normally lie, but sometimes in tactical reasons, we may have to tell an untruth so our preaching is not disturbed. Who authorized you to be here? He said, well, the government authorized me to be here. But normally, no, lie is different from gambling, a different thing. Okay, does the Lord's stool and urine, even being aromatic, does the Lord's stool and urine, even being aromatic, does not help people understand His importance? This is something for devotees to relish. The non-devotees will not believe, never believe such things.
The thing is, Lord doesn't need to pass stool.
The Lord doesn't even pass it. That's right. He didn't require to pass urine and stool. We require, but the Lord doesn't even require it. This is not something that can help the non-devotees understand His importance. They will completely, you tell them that they become like the Buddha, this is a bunch of mythology. This is only for the devotees. This is not, oh, guess what? God passes aromatic stool in urine. We don't preach like that, Paramahamsa. They will never, that's called, that would be an offense actually to preach such things to the non-devotee. It means you're stupid because you're going to turn them off about Krishna consciousness. This high level, huh?
If Maharaj Parikshit didn't have to eat, sleep, or go to the bathroom or drink water,
Yeah.
he didn't have to pass for 7 days he was sitting so well.
Yeah, no eating, no drinking, no passing stool, no passing urine, just sitting. No sleeping, just sitting there for 7 days. Yeah.
Just so you got to hear.
Yeah. Anything else, or we call it quits? Doubts are welcome. Come forward with your doubts. Okay. If Lord Krishna has sent us to enjoy separately, then why we put under the stringent laws of nature? Actually, Krishna didn't send us here. We wanted to come to, it was our desire to try and enjoy separately, so He gave us a facility to try to do that, because we were so stubborn in our desire to want to enjoy separately. So He gave us, all right, if you're really stubborn, you want to do that, okay, here's you can give it a try. That was Krishna's concession to us, because we wanted to try and enjoy separately. Then why we were put under the stringent laws of material nature? We put ourselves under the stringent laws of material nature. Why is the prison house an unpleasant place? Since the government wants to see all the citizens are happy, why the prison is not a happy place? Because it's a place to reform the foolish person who wants to try to enjoy separately from the laws of the state. The stringent laws of nature are there to help us realize that we've made a stupid mistake by trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. The stringent laws of material nature are Krishna's kindness upon us to help us realize how stupid we were. Why Krishna doesn't let us enjoy separately then? Why the fish can't be a land creature? Why Krishna is not kind enough to let us enjoy separately? Let us, instead of pure bliss, separately. Because we can't really... Why Krishna created us in such a way we can only be happy by serving Him? You can say, well, Krishna is being unfair. We argue like that. But actually, Krishna is what pleases Krishna. What pleases us is the same thing, to be connected in a loving relationship. Okay, next one.
Can I add something?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't we ask, why do I have 2 hands?
Why do I have
2 hands.
2 hands?
Yeah. Why do I have it?
Why only one?
Serve the body.
Why not one?
Yeah. Why not one, or why not none hands?
Why no hands? Krishna has given us full facility to be happy, and as I many times explained, love cannot be existent, that's just voluntary. It goes back to the real basic point is, love cannot be forced, it has to be voluntary, therefore there's a chance of misusing it. Okay, it has to be some probability, some mathematical probability, which is 1 divided by infinity, if you want to look at it mathematically, that we can misuse our independence. Okay, Similar to the current pastimes of Lord Rishabhadeva being humiliated, does that also happen in the spiritual world? Are you kidding? Spiritual world, there's no humiliation in the spiritual world. So how can we explain the Lord is above moral social norms and who sets these norms? This is a transcendental pastime, don't you understand? Why do you want to explain to somebody why God is smearing his body with stool and urine? I mean, this is totally high level stuff. Why do you want to try to explain calculus to a first grader? That's not preaching. That's not proper teaching. You don't need to explain, high level trigonometry or calculus to a first grader. Preach according to the level. Okay.
I don't know. What is the question?
So how can we explain Lord is above moral social norms? How can we explain the Lord is above moral or social norms? In other words, stubbing stool over his body, for example. And who sets those norms?
How can God, why he's separate from everybody? He creates, he maintains. Can you?
Who sets the norms? Why is it considered dirty to rub your body with stool? Who made that rule? Who set the norm?
How he made everything.
Stool stinks. Who made the norm? Who made stool stink? Why isn't ours? Why not? It's so funny. I can laughing. Why not everybody's stool is aromatic?
If you become transcendental like it, then you can't have it.
The point is, it boils down. The bottom line is, love is voluntary. It can't be forced. And if you try to be happy without it, you're going to be in an abominable, stool stinky situation. Bottom line. Okay. What can we appreciate? When can we appreciate every activity the Lord mentioned in the scriptures as wonderful, but may not be able to comprehend within a tiny brain? Does that help us to increase our faith in the Lord? The thing is, the majority right now, we're not very advanced devotees, I'll be honest with you. An advanced devotee takes even reverse conditions as the mercy of Krishna, as a gift from Krishna. Right now, we're still in the platform of duality. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. That's in our neophyte condition, we're still seeing that way.
Some silly question they're asking.
So how to see everything is wonderful with our tiny brain through the eyes of Scripture, that's all I can say. Sometimes the greatest loss can be the greatest gain. But when that loss comes, you become devastated by it, you see. Just a nice example. Prabhupada's preaching was sabotaged in Jhansi. Prabhupada's preaching was sabotaged in Jhansi. But what was the result? ISKCON. So sometimes when we feel our preaching is being sabotaged, but actually behind the scenes, Krishna is arranging even a more successful preaching. That's one way of looking at it. Okay. All right. Can I achieve genuine spiritual progress in Krishna consciousness if my practices still influence my self-deception and material desires? And our practice right now is contaminated. Let's face the facts, we're not pure devotees. But if we keep serving in spite of all our contamination, that service itself will purify us till all those contaminations gradually go away. So right now, I go to Mangalarti, but I'm thinking about something else. I'm not totally absorbed in Grivastakam, for example. But I'm only halfway absorbed in Grivastakam, and the other half is somewhere else. But that halfway absorption will purify me, so gradually I'm 60% absorbed in Mangalarti, 70% absorbed, and finally 100%. Okay. If a devotee has material desires, who can he appeal to for help? You can appeal to Krishna. Krishna, please help me get free from these material desires. That's the appeal. When you have material desires, you just beg Krishna, help me become free from these material desires. That's the appeal. Appeal to Krishna for help. Why some people are endeavoring devotionally and some materially? Who is more intelligent? Don't you? You should know the answer to that one, Vishnuvrata. Manushanam sahasre kujashreshu kashchit yatati siddhaya yatatam siddhanam kashchin nagmati tatpataha. Out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and out of thousands who achieve perfection, hardly even one knows me in truth. It's a very, very rare thing when somebody wants to endeavor for devotional service. Who is more intelligent? Well, obviously those engaged in the Krishna consciousness, they're intelligent. Just like you're on a ship, for example, and the ship is sinking. The intelligent person goes for the lifeboat, isn't it? And the fool thinks, let me enjoy. I'm in the restaurant here on the ship. The ship is sinking, but let me have one more. I have some nice wine here. Let me enjoy this wine. The intelligent person says, the hell with the damn wine. I'm getting in the lifeboat. You see, so. It's obvious a person that goes for the lifeboat, he's intelligent. The person that tries to enjoy one more cup of wine, he's obviously an idiot and he's going to drown within a few minutes. It's like on the Titanic, you see, everybody drowned. Famous. It's supposed to be the greatest ship, and it went under and all the people died. The famous sinking of the Titanic. You see. So if there was a lifeboat and somebody went for the lifeboat, they were intelligent. I don't know if anybody did that. But anyway, the point is, those who are intelligent, they go for the lifeboat. Those who are fools and rascals, they try to enjoy a little bit more, and then think about the lifeboat later on. It doesn't work that way. Okay? If there's anything else, now we can call it quits. Finished? All doubts are now eradicated. You're fully convinced you're Krishna's Supreme Personality God, you're His eternal servant. Your only duty is to please Him with every thought, word, and deed, at all times, places, and circumstances. With not even a pinch of Maya, you convinced? Okay, so thank you very much. Take this process seriously. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you will taste unlimited bliss, ever increasing bliss at every nanosecond. Hare Krishna.